2, 1.
Alright, so how's it going, guys? My name is JoeKoh27, or you can address me as Joe, and my commentator will be Trichael Man or
Hey everyone.
and today we will be doing Resident Evil 4 new game professional difficulty, and we are gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so this takes place like after Resident Evil 2 in Spain, and the president's daughter is kidnapped. So he sends Leon to try to find her, and then we end up in this village area here. So Resident Evil 4 is a great game. I think it won Game of the Year in like 2005 when it came out. Even though I might be biased, it does have replay value. So that first guy that Joe shot on professional, he dies in 4 hits. So the differences between the difficulties is that professional, you're locked at the highest difficulty, but the other difficulties, the difficulty dynamically changes. So what that means is that the more you get hit, the lower the difficulty of the game is, or the more you shoot people and kill enemies, the difficulty goes up, and that affects how aggressive the enemies are and how much health they have. So on professional, like I was saying, that the difficulty is locked at the highest setting. So that means they're going to be. We know how they're going to react. We know how they're going to behave, and that makes it more consistent for speedruns. However, on professional, you do take more damage compared to the other difficulties. So usually, Leon will die in like 2 to 3 hits to most things. So we just need to be careful and not get hit. So the village is coming up. This is like the first hard part of the game. So you have to clear, I believe, 16 enemies to get past this section, and we want to trigger like more enemies to spawn so we can kill enemies with our grenades. So Joe specifically kills one person. We pick this guy because he's the easiest one to kill, but we pick him because once we kill him and then we kill him with a grenade through this window, we kill enemies out there, it's going to spawn more enemies here. Yep, so that cutscene there spawns more enemies, and the second grenade he picks up, he's going to throw it in a certain location, and that's going to maximize the kills that we get. And hopefully we'll hit 16 after this. Let's see.
This section should end here. Great.
Yep, perfect. So that was a perfect village right there. And basically that's it. So now we move on to the next section of the farm. The money routing in Resident Evil is a little strict, but not necessarily. There's leniency because you can pick up enemy drops, but there is a set treasure pathing that we want to do. So yeah, so we'll shoot that pillar down and then shoot the treasure, and basically we use the treasures. We sell them to buy weapons, mainly rocket launchers, to clear enemies and potential other things.
So we are coming up to the first QTE section of the game, which involves you smashing a button and pressing the dodge prompt. I'm gonna try to do what we call the tree skip here. I hope I don't die. Oh, I didn't get it. That's fine.
Yeah, so basically what it does, so if you mash fast enough and then you wait at the last second to dodge the boulder, Leon runs far enough to run past the tree. That saves 1 second. So since he missed it, we have to reset. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, the way how Resident Evil 4 mashing works, it's really interesting. Like, it's not necessarily how fast you mash, it's about how consistent you mash. So it's better to mash at like a medium fast pace rather than going fast, slow, fast. So. And then we are about to finish the first chapter of the game. And things are going to pick up a little bit more from here. So the cool thing about the quick time event prompts, so for the button pressing ones, you on Steam, I'm not sure about the other systems, but you can press both sets of buttons. So like basically, I believe on Steam does L and R and A and X. So basically, if you just press all 4 of them, it'll work all the time. But I believe on GameCube you have to. Oh yeah, that's a little.
That's fine. That's fine. That guy can
He's
just
safe.
run up to you and just hit you.
Yeah, so Canyon, this section here, you want to go as fast as possible. I mean, it sounds really silly, but for a speed run, because you want to go fast. But basically, the slower you go in this section, the pattern of the enemies are more awkward, and the faster you go, the more consistent it is. And that's what Joe's doing here. He has a very good pattern. Yeah, that was a good RNG too. That bald guy in that Resident Evil 4 community, we call him Bob. And then basically sometimes he charges at you, but luckily he didn't. So Joe was able just to like run past him. Hey, we're gonna come. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
So this game is Joe's currently running this on PC. Um, is there anything on the leaderboard that talks about like computer hardware and like the
No, not really. Well, I mean, like most of the information is in the Discord, the speedrunning Discord, but pretty much we have a load remover script, so it doesn't really affect like because before the load remover script occurred, we would run all the games off the in-game time, and that was pretty much like there is a pay-to-win extent there because loading
Yeah,
times can vary with
because
in-game time.
because
uh,
the how the
makes
in-game time works in this game actually the in-game time actually runs when you're in loading screens and like the fade to black transitions. So it essentially means if you get a better PC, you will have a faster time. That is why we implemented the load removal time so that the timer would pause on loading screens.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, like what we learned from the in-game time is that it actually rounds on every door transition, so like it can round up or down, and that like that's not really fair either.
That
Um,
sounds inconsistent.
yeah, and then what we also learned was that the going in and out of your inventory also counts as load times as well. So I believe Pitted and Whitefinger was able to figure that out because I think Pitted artificially slowed the game down to like
Oh,
he lowered the
that's
FPS of the game, and he found out
I'm gonna
that
get hit
being in
probably.
inventory.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
fine.
use it here. That's fine.
Yeah, so that section right there, that was a little bit difficult. It's one of the harder. Like it looks, it doesn't look that like hard to get through, but there's actually more nuance to it. It depends on that bald guy Bob, depending on where he runs, and you don't have that big of a window to run past everyone if he does charge at you. But that's fine. Joe's doing well so far. We are very safe right now, and basically he's going to come up on the first merchant. And the merchant sells you weapons, and we want to buy rocket launchers because rocket launchers kill enemies faster. But certain enemies, we don't want to, buy it just for random reasons. So I guess one thing I should distinguish, there's another category called New Game Plus, where you basically start the game with the inventory with whatever you want from previous playthroughs. And that you have more flexibility in what you pick because it varies runner to runner on what they prefer. But New Game Pro, you start from the beginning, you beat the game on the hardest
Oops.
mode, and then yeah, that's it. And also, one thing to note, if you notice, Joe aimed really fast on that. So he switched to keyboard mouse in that particular section because aiming on mouse, at least on modern aim, there's modern versus classic, which I won't really get into, but in general, aiming on keyboard mouse is a lot faster than aiming on gamepad. Okay, so yes, he runs past these people. He grabs grenades, which we're going to be using later. We'll talk about it once it comes up in the run, but all these grenades go in a very specific place in our inventory as well, just to make it easier to access everything, because spending time in your inventory does count towards the in-game time as well as, RTA. So the way we pick up items in the inventory, it falls in a specific spot that makes it easier to access when we need to. And for whatever reason, that crow has a grenade.
And because I use a heal back there, I need to block that slot where my first aid spray was with another item so that I don't mess up my inventory too much afterwards.
Yeah, one thing important to note is that the Resident Evil 4 inventory, it fills left to right and then up to down. So before, when he had that first aid spray, when he used it, it opened up a slot, but he moved his rifle ammo over one slot. And most of these items in the game, pretty much all the items in the game, take up more than one square. They normally take up two squares, as you can see. So because that rifle ammo was displaced over by one, it left two separate one by one sections open, and then so items aren't going to fill there. So if we had that first aid sprayed there, whether or if we had the rifle ammo moved over, the inventory is going to fill how Joe wants it to be. Okay, and we're coming up on Del Lago, so I'm sure everyone knows this, like the giant fish.
Oh,
Technically, it's a salamander.
I
But
forgot
yeah,
to get this.
oh, yeah, yeah. You never know why there's random treasures in the trees, but yeah, we know the game, so we pick it up.
I'm
But
just gonna
yeah,
get
this Del
I'm just gonna
Lago.
get the herb here just in case, because I don't have a heal right now.
Mhm.
I should probably reorganize my inventory a bit.
Yeah,
There
so
we
he's
go.
gonna so that greener pretty much replaced where the first aid used to be. So, but yeah, so Del Lago, he's a very hard boss. Learning him, I skipped learning him at first when I was starting to run this game. But the first harpoon, you always hold the boat to the very right, or no, you throw the first harpoon, then you go to the very right, then you go 2 more. But pretty much after this point, it's RNG from here, and you need to learn how to adapt to every pattern. And then movement of the boat is critical because you don't want to get hit, right? So,
I miss. That's fine. I miss the harpoon.
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, that's fine. So he has a good pattern here. Yeah, so on professional mode, Del Lago takes 12 harpoons. Okay, so basically he needs to throw 3 more, and then on this cycle he's gonna, he's gonna hit all 3 of them here. But it's really hard to notice Del Lago's patterns because it's very subtle movement. So you have to really like play the game enough and then look at like the small things he does. Because to a veteran runner, it's very obvious what he does, but to someone who's newer, it doesn't look so obvious.
A lot of things is actually there's more into it than it seems.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
a lot of things that newer runners I found is that they look at the runs, the speed runs, and then they try to copy it, but they don't understand how it works. So they end up failing this strategy. But it's really important to actually understand how it works at first. So here we're in nighttime. So according to the lore, those plagas, so those parasite weird thingies that comes out of the enemy's heads, they're light sensitive, so they don't come out at sunlight. But that also means your flash grenades also affect them. So fun fact: flash grenades instantly KO or they instantly kill the parasites. Besides bosses, that doesn't count because they're bosses. So that just means that during nighttime, if you kill an enemy, or if you headshot them, or sometimes you don't even need to headshot them, there's a chance that the heads will explode and a plaga will come out. But since this is a speed run, we're going to try not to kill as many enemies as we can. There's a section coming up that we will need to kill 40 enemies. So.
Yeah, a lot of enemies in this game are optional. So we run by like most of the enemies in the game.
Yeah, so on 30 FPS, there used to be a waterfall skip, which is you can skip this section here on 30 FPS because of some hitbox stuff, but on 60 FPS, which Joe is playing on, this glitch doesn't work. But overall, there's more glitches at 30 FPS, but the loading times are much slower as well. And then for the longest time, people thought 30 FPS was faster until more 6.6 started running the game. And then people found out that 60 FPS on Resident Evil 4 Steam was a lot faster than 30. Okay, so we're about to come out on the hardest boss of the game. So then we're gonna see how Joe gets rid of this boss. It's pretty tough. So I'm gonna let Joe explain it.
Yeah, so basically this boss, it's considered one of the most difficult bosses in the game and requires like really precise movement. I'm gonna get a heal here to like just in case. And he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, that heal, he needed that heal as a backup, just in case if things went wrong. But real talk, something you can accidentally blow yourself up with a rocket here if you run up before you shoot the rocket. But luckily that didn't happen. So, oh, you might want to get rid of the heal. I think it might conflict with the
I'm
grenades
gonna
coming up in
combine it
cabin.
like I'm gonna combine it later.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a section in the game later where our inventory gets full, so that extra herb that Joe picked up, we have to be careful with it. But he's going to combine it with that first green herb later, so there's nothing to be worried about.
Yeah, it kind of is like a backup since I don't have a full heal right now. A green health doesn't heal you all the way up to full if you are in red health.
Yeah, even like low yellow, a green herb won't heal you, and if you heal on a low yellow, a mace or a taser might kill you. So now we pick up the President's Daughter, we find her, and this game turns into more of like an escort mission now, where you just escort her to safety. But the thing is, most people think that she's annoying, and I agree. When I first started playing this game, speedrun or casually, it was very hard to babysit her. But once you get better at the game, you understand how she moves, and you can manipulate enemies into moving around because you can tell her to wait or follow you. And when enemies hear that, they get aggroed. So we'll see later in the run where that becomes useful. A fun fact, Ashley also runs on Leon's left side. So if you ever need to weave through enemies, keep that in mind. So it makes it easier if you pass up enemies on the left side. Otherwise, Ashley can get caught in front of an enemy and then she'll squat down and hide, and that is very annoying. And that usually means they're going to pick up Ashley, and you're going to be swarmed by enemies at that point.
So at
And
this
Ashley
door,
is
this is the only door where we open it slowly because we kind of want to hold the door open for Ashley so she doesn't have to open it again. It saves like I don't know, less than a second
2 or 3
probably.
seconds.
Oh,
I'd say
really?
more. Like I think it takes 2 seconds.
Because you need Ashley to be with you when you enter like the loading zone doors, or the game will just like say like uh you can't leave Ashley behind and it won't let you get through.
So here's a wait, follow me one. So that aggroed the
Oh, that
guy with the torch at the end.
I think I'm fine.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
fine.
I'm fine. That I got kind of lucky there. The guy was supposed to be behind the ladder, not beside it. If he's beside the ladder, as you can see, he can like just turbo out and grab Ashley, and you don't want that.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're coming up on one of the hardest rooms in the game. So the cabin. I'm sure everyone knows this. You're basically trapped in the cabin with Lewis. He's a scientist that escaped from Sadler, escaped from the enemy. And you guys have to defend this cabin. And you can time out the cabin. I think I don't remember how much time it is. It's like 3 or 5 minutes. Or you can basically kill 40 enemies. And in a speed run, the faster option is to kill 40 enemies. So there's a very specific pattern that we're doing. So the idea is that Lewis shoots enemies, and then he shoots them out of the way. But we have these hand grenades, which can kill multiple enemies at once. So we don't want him to shoot these enemies out. We want all these enemies to crowd up, so we can get more kills with our hand grenades, so we clear the room faster. So pretty much, when Joe aims at Lewis stops. He stops aiming, or he stops shooting people. Or you can knife him, and that stops him from shooting people. And this is you can see this is gonna maximize the amount of enemies coming in. Okay, so there's his last grenade here, so he should be at around 22, 23 kills. So he needs to basically kill, so he and Lewis have to kill a combined total of 40. So this section is really RNG because it depends how enemies like run into the cabin, plus also how many enemies Lewis shoots out or kills.
Like the Plagas can spawn at up to 2 Plagas can spawn at a time in this room. If the Plagas happen to spawn in front of Lewis, they can indefinitely stun lock Lewis, and Lewis will not be able to do anything.
Yeah, that's
and
it. Like you just hear the whole time.
You don't want that because I'm gonna get hit probably. Yeah, reloading on the stairs is really scary.
Yeah, it's basically a runner's intuition when to reload on the stairs. Like there's no it comes with experience. There's no way to really like quantify what you want to do, in my opinion.
Okay, that's the cabin section done.
And yeah, that was a good cabin. Yeah, that was really good. So yeah, good job, Joe. And good job, Lewis, because that's more important actually.
Yeah, God bless RNGesus.
Yeah, so now we're coming up on the second Gigante, and unlike
Oh,
the first one,
I kinda forget that I need to run forward a bit. because after the Gigante cutscene plays, you need to turn around because you are facing the Gigante.
Yeah, so we're not gonna kill this one. Basically, we're just gonna grab the items that we want, and then we're just gonna get the heck out of here. So we're gonna grab these items, which we're gonna use for later in the run. We have to grab the key to get out of here. So fun fact, on keyboard mouse, you can knife all three of those on one.
I
so
didn't
Joe
get it,
tried
but
it.
I
He
didn't get it, but it's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, basically you knife and you swing the mouse down super fast, and you can't do that on the gamepad. So the top runners, that run on gamepad, what they'll do, they'll play most of the game on gamepad, and on very specific sections, they switch to keyboard mouse.
Yeah, because the time doesn't run when you pause your game, so it's actually faster to switch to keyboard and mouse, but since if it's time on like RTA, it doesn't really matter. Oh, yeah, that thing can happen even though like Ashley is right behind you. When you try to get on the gondola, it's gonna say that Ashley is not with you.
Yeah, it's part of the game that's like weird. But so there's 13 enemies here that you need to kill. Otherwise, they keep throwing axes at you. On professional, they'll always throw it at you multiple times. But on lower difficulty, sometimes they don't throw axes at you.
I think they only throw once at like normal difficulty or easy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like depending on their DA or something. Yeah, so what Joe's also doing is, you see that he reloaded. Normally handgun has 10 bullets, but he reloaded to 7. So the thing is, we want to get rid of all of our handgun ammo when we move on to the next section, because we basically sell most of our inventory and then get a new inventory. But we don't want to sell the handgun ammo because that's an extra thing we have to sell. So the best way to do it is that we just empty bullets from the handgun.
And the bullets are not really worth anything anyway, so it's better off you just like shoot it off.
Yeah, exactly. Like the bullets like barely sell for anything in terms of what you need to buy in this game. So now we're basically at the final boss of the first section of the game. So Vittoris Mendez, he's the village chief. And fun fact, if you watch the entire cutscene, I mean, I didn't get it when I first played this game, but apparently, like from the cutscene, he's weak to fire. So that's why we're arming ourselves with 3 fire grenades right now. So without fire grenades, this boss is really tanky. Like he takes forever to kill, but you'll see how Joe disposes of Vittoris Mendez super fast.
I would say this one is pretty much free. Like there's next to nothing that can go wrong. If something goes wrong, it's almost always your fault.
Yeah, essentially.
I can't see him.
Only thing that
I can't see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he backed too far to the corner. So that last grenade, what Joe did, he threw the grenade so it would hit Mendez and also trigger the fire on the explosive barrel. So Mendez takes damage from both of them. So basically, Mendez only needs 4 fire grenades and the explosive barrel, and then he's done. On I believe 30 FPS in GameCube, he requires
5.
another grenade.
Yeah, you need one more on
because
30 FPS versions.
Yeah. But after that, we're about to run into the most fun part of this game, which is the castle. So the castle is arguably the hardest section of the game because so much stuff goes on, and it's the longest section of the game. So,
Which interestingly, a lot of the mechanics in this game is tied to frame rates, like the incendiary grenade damage, for example, like how you need 5 grenades to kill Mendes in 30 frames. There's a lot of other stuff that ties directly to the frame rate. That's also why, like, if you find a way to uncap the FPS to other than 30 and 60, you are probably gonna get some weird stuff going on.
I think the game just like doesn't work. Like I think you can play it, but I heard that you can't go through doors or something. I'm not sure, but I just know if you try to change the game's FPS like in the game, or you try to modify it like outside of 30 to 60, like it just doesn't work. But yeah, like it's actually interesting because I think on 60 FPS compared to 30 FPS and other consoles, the enemies are more aggressive on 60 because my guess is the game pulls twice as fast, so enemies like they can be more aggressive because they're reading where Leon is twice as often. Okay, and now we're about to enter the castle, and you'll see here we're gonna sell our entire inventory and get a completely new one. I think the most OP weapon for speedrunning is the TMP by far. So it's basically like a little machine gun, and it doesn't have good killing power, so on a casual run it's not really that cool to use. But it shoots fast and it can shoot a lot of bullets fast. So you can you can shoot an enemy and stun the enemy and just run past everyone. And you'll see how powerful it is later for speedruns. But you also get the semi-auto sniper rifle, which is also my personal favorite weapon like of all time. And of course a rocket launcher for stuff later. Yeah, so we're gonna shoot a very specific enemy here, because it's gonna, if we don't shoot him, it's gonna affect us trying to pull a crank later. But yeah, so basically we're just gonna run through this whole section, and then wait for the catapults, and then run past, and then you're gonna pull a crank or something.
I believe that enemy that I just shot, he has 1 health, so you don't really need to headshot him. As long as you hit him, is fine.
Yeah, I think all the enemies on the catapults are all, they all have like 1 HP. Because sometimes on no merchant, you can actually just shoot them with a handgun pistol. Yep, so Ashley actually is very good as well. If you're not a user, she's a good doorstop, and she also can block that enemy from getting to Leon, because that enemy wants to get to Leon, but he's going to grab Ashley instead. Ashley's also a good doorstop, which we'll see later. Basically, she just holds open doors for you, so you don't have to spend and waste time kicking it.
She's kind of like your bait and like your door stopper, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
fact,
like
we put Ashley in front of that door.
Right.
Oh, go on.
It's okay, go on. That's all she does in the game, be a door stopper.
Yeah, and she's annoying. So pretty much what Joe did is he re-entered the room, which resets the positions of all the enemies in this room. So because we can't clear this room in 1 cycle without triggering more enemies, so basically we get one of the sword treasures and then leave the room and then switch the swords, and then we can get out of here. Wait. Okay, so we leave Ashley here as a doorstop. So, and then you'll see on the way back how that's useful. Sometimes the enemy goes for her, but most likely they won't.
It very rarely happens, but it can happen.
Yep, so he waits a bit to shoot the explosive barrels in order to maximize all the enemies killed here. Because sometimes enemies can block.
Yeah, that can happen.
Okay, so that enemy actually went for Ashley.
Don't stop me, please. Don't get stuck, please. I forgot to ask her to follow me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's very dangerous right there, because like sometimes one time that guy blocked me in front of that door and I could not get through that door until he got up. So, but yeah, that's very. Sometimes the enemies go for Ashley there, and then with the TMP you can just shoot them really quick, and usually they prop the door open still. Okay, so this section coming up, it's like a mini boss. I'm sure you guys know the Gyarados, that's his official name, but he's the blind Wolverine guy in casual playthrough, and he's scary. And we're going to use the semi-auto rifle to dispose of him. And the fun fact for the semi-auto rifle is that basically if you unscope and rescope it, you actually have a faster firing rate than just holding the scope and just holding the button. So you'll see Joe do that here.
Oh, that's really awkward. I missed the final hit. I'm gonna play a bit.
Yeah, that's fine. So he missed the final hit, and that's okay. Pretty much the Gyarados, I think he needs 5 shots to the Plaga in the back and 1 shot anywhere on the body. But
no,
Joe would not have been able to pull that strat off.
He needs 4 shots on the Plagas and 1 shot anywhere on the body. Or you can just hit all 5 on the Plagas, it's up to you.
Oh, yeah, 4 + 1, 5 + 1, I keep forgetting. But yeah, Joe wouldn't have been able to pull off that strat without the quick scope. And we use Ashley, wait, follow me to aggro the enemies. Okay, so the infamous Waterhall. So a lot of people hate this room, casually and speedrun wise. But what Joe's gonna do, he's gonna shoot the archers and the shield guys. And pretty much what he's going to do now, he has to knock down this red zealot. because it's basically going to change. It's gonna manipulate the RNG in the room. If he doesn't shoot down the red zealot and knock him to the floor, then he's gonna appear close to the basement area. So this room has a lot of RNG. It basically comes with experience on how to make the best of the situation, because this room changes every time you do it, and you basically just need to adapt on the way out. So yeah, Joe's able to get out of there pretty well. And he's going to put Ashley on the crank because apparently Ashley is faster on 60 FPS with the crank than Leon is. And this fire grenade here basically knocks the shield guy down, and then it's going to stall all the enemies there. Okay, and we're going to do some movement manipulation here. So Joe's going to turn this way and go around. So the scythe guys go to the left, and then Leon just bypasses them to the right. So that was a very clean water haul. That's very good.
Look, there's a crank over there.
And then now we're at the second section. So fun fact, sometimes when you reload a room, it can reset the enemy positions. In this case, all these enemies disappeared. Because you hit a checkpoint into the second phase, and then the enemies just aren't supposed to be there. And then now we're at an auto-scroller section. So basically Ashley has to do 2 cranks for the both of them to get across this room here. And then there's a certain amount of enemies that Leon has to kill for them to for Ashley to not get grabbed here. So he doesn't have to kill all of them. But the enemies that Leon does kill basically ensures that Ashley can do the do both cranks easily. Yeah, since this is an auto-scroller, we're going to pick up certain items that we want as well. So like money, you want to pick up all the money in this room, just because enemies in the castle tend to drop higher amounts of money than enemies in the village area. Okay, and that's all the enemies he has to shoot or kill. So that last guy, he doesn't have to kill that enemy, but he just needs to shoot him. And then now he's just going to pick up the rest of the items on the way. And we're pretty much, yeah, we're like scot-free. There's nothing much to do here.
I happened to notice that you guys said that you can toggle between 30 and 60 FPS, right?
Yeah,
We
that's
can, but you
only
have to leave the
doable
game.
from
You have to leave
the
the
main menu. You
Okay.
cannot change that on the fly, unfortunately.
Right. I saw that the gameplay looks to be 60 FPS, but then like the reloading animation looks like 30.
Yeah, some animations they didn't like when they remade it. It didn't come over. So I mean, the rifle thing is one of the most obvious things people notice because it was very choppy.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping.
No, you're good. That was a very good observation. I mean, it's one of the things where like
It's one of
the
like the
RE4
subtle
reasons,
things, yeah.
we just make fun of it. Oh, what a great remake, because RE4 has been remade like 13, 14, 15 times, and like they still don't fix certain things. Like,
I don't have to.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This game was meant to be the GameCube exclusive, like back in 2005. At least that's what they said. But then
And then
they
the PS2 came out.
they pretty much ended up on every single platform you can think of.
So we're coming up on these Novicidors, aka the bugs. So you can manipulate these enemies quite a bit. So the idea is that if you turn your camera away from them, so if you don't look at them, they are less likely to give you a prompt where you have to kick them. So pretty much if you see a kick prompt and you encounter these enemies, you should kick them because they're going to catch you if you don't. There's like a 1% chance that they don't catch you, but that's highly unlikely. So you need to kick them if you see that prompt. But if you turn your camera away from them, they are incredibly less likely to give you that prompt. And this is a very high RNG section too. So anytime you see these bugs, these Novicidors, it's always high RNG. So a lot of good runs have died here from many runs. That was a very good Novi's one. Like, I'm very happy with that room, and I'm sure
Yeah.
Joe is ecstatic to get that.
Yeah, of course. That guy, like that Noe standing in front of me, it kind of had me there a bit.
Yeah,
I
like
was just
we
kind of
have
like, I was just kind of like praying that he doesn't hit me.
yeah, there's a we have a channel on the Resident Evil 4 speedrunning Discord for clips, and then like like at least 20% of the clips are people like dying to the Novistadors in some stupid fashion. Like that's my estimate. Okay, so if you don't flash these guys, then a cutscene happens when you jump down, and of course that loses time, so we don't want that. So this next section here, it's not a new trick, but for Steam 60 FPS on New Game Pro specifically, or on not New Game Plus, this strategy was discovered very recently. So this is one of the bigger time saves. Pretty much what Joe's gonna do, he's gonna aim this, he's gonna throw a flash to stun all the enemies here. He's gonna throw a fire grenade, and that fire grenade is going to basically, it's gonna manipulate that red zealot into glitching so that he stays there. Let's see if he gets it first. Okay, that should be very good. Yeah, so that red zealot just does this weird dance thing, but like, you know, technically you jump down, the red zealot runs across, and he appears on the other side, but we have to track him down, and that loses time. So this new trick saves a lot of time. I think it's like 8 seconds at least, which is huge for this game. So this room is also big RNG as well, but this puzzle is easy. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So if anyone just plays this game, just remember this one's very easy.
Actually, all the puzzles in this game is quite easy.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Yeah, the only one that's hard is the Salazar puzzle when you're actually, if you don't know how to do that one, that puzzle is actually almost impossible to do. Okay, so let's see. So this is another place where you have to adapt. Oh, you didn't get it, but yeah, that's fine. Very interesting. Yeah, so that's fine. So Joe adapted, and like that was very good.
I'm gonna kill them just for safety, because they are in a very awkward position.
Yeah, so...
Don't get me?
Yep, that was very good. So that section's really weird, because pretty much what happens the moment you enter that door to shoot the vase, like, a million things can happen, you never know what can happen. So, yeah, RE4 is not a straightforward game. There's a lot of like adapting and RNG. So at the highest level gameplay, you could lose 5 seconds just because a room gave you really bad RNG, which is very unfortunate.
Like that room, after when you exit out of that switch room, you could potentially get automatically game over. Like the side guys can just throw their sides like one by one, and even with the kick animation, like the iframes, it's not enough to sustain like all the sides.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes like you just get in an auto lose situation, or almost like auto lose, and it's just RNG. It's part of the game. Like it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. So for these dogs, we saw them earlier, but we run into more of them here. As long as you don't run straight at them, they won't jump on you. So you'll notice like if Joe sees him, he just runs off to the side. There's also a camera manipulation too. So if you hold your camera up, then the dogs are pretty much don't jump on you at all. So you'll see here, Joe's probably gonna do that.
When you can't see them, they can't see you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what he's gonna do, he's gonna do some quick turns and turn the camera like straight up, and then these dogs aren't gonna jump him or whip him at all. Yeah, but casually these dogs are one of the scariest parts of the game. Like besides some other enemies that come up on the island. Okay, so this shot right here that Joe's gonna do is one of the actually low key one of the more annoying shots, because whatever the hitbox is on this wine bottle is actually it doesn't make sense. Okay, but he gets it, and that's great.
I think I'm gonna reload just for safety.
Yeah, that's basically use the TMP here to break this lock, and if you don't have enough bullets, then things get real. So technically that lock, it takes 15 shots to break it, but you can break it with 14 shots and a door kick. But I mean, I think the time save is super minimal, so you might as well just break the lock with the TMP anyways, like Joe did.
Let's see what these guys do. Okay, I'm gonna do the safe strat. I'm gonna damage boost and reload here.
Yeah, so when Leon reloads a weapon and he gets hit, then the weapon automatically reloads for him. So what he did, he shot that lantern, and before it came down, he started the reload animation, and then he got that free reload while stunning the enemies.
Oh, I didn't get it. That's fine.
Yeah,
So
so
if
it's
your
possible.
shots is precise enough, you can get like 2 of the chains in one shot.
Yeah, back in the way back then, it was all it was already considered RNG, but recently there's been a setup that you can do to make it more likely or almost guaranteed to do it. But it's a very precise setup. So here, pretty much have to kill these enemies. So what Joe's gonna do, he's gonna throw a grenade in a very specific spot that kills all the enemies at once. If he doesn't do that, then more enemies will spawn.
I missed
Okay.
one. That's fine. We just shoot him.
Yeah, that's fine.
As
Pretty much
long
what
as long
happens.
as the red zealot is dead, then you're good. If you didn't kill
Yeah.
the red zealot, however, the enemies will continue spawning.
Yeah, so that grenade is a little bit finicky. You actually can't throw that grenade too fast, nor you can throw it too slow. And you have to throw it in not a super specific area, but you have to throw it in a general direction for it to kill all the enemies at once. And then now you get to play as Ashley. When you first play this game, it's really scary because she doesn't have any weapons. Well, she can pick up these lanterns, but as a speedrunner, this is very easy.
Also, a fun fact, if you're playing on the Japanese version of the game, this section of the game is actually the classic camera angles, like how it was in the original Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and that camera angle is really hard to manipulate.
Yeah.
I've never done it in my life, but I hated playing the old Resident Evil games because I didn't know how to control my character.
The only, like, the classic camera Resident Evil game that I actually play and enjoy is probably Outbreak, because you can play online with your friends.
So this puzzle that Joe's coming up on, it's a really hard casual puzzle, but if you're speed running it, you start. If the blocks are numbered 1, 2, 3 through 9, you go from the fourth one, you just go counterclockwise, and that's it. Super easy. When I first saw this in a speedrun, my mind just exploded. And then, yeah.
I guess that pretty much what happened to all of us. Like, I didn't know that the wine bottle bell can be shot for the longest time until I started speedrunning.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I thought you always had to manually trigger the bell.
It's like all these subtle things you can do to save time. It's actually amazing, like how people find all these optimizations, even though it's like a very minor one. But you know, if you're on the top level, when every second counts.
Yeah, this game, it's this category specifically is the most developed category, but there's still things that we can do to make the run faster, especially on the new load remover script, because strategies with the load remover and without the load remover are different in certain rooms, and we're still finding new things like very regularly. I think there was a new treasure route where you pick up a Los Illuminados pendant, and that was very recent. Um, it's actually crazy. Like watching, I'm like,
Which
oh, that's actually
I'll
interesting. It
be
seems like
doing
three
it,
seconds.
which I'll be doing it later. Yeah, because you don't have to watch you get to skip a, I don't know, cabinet.
A chessboard, the chessboard, right?
Yeah, the cabinet animation. I mean the cutscene where it opens.
Oh yeah.
You get to skip that because the cutscenes when these things open is not skippable, unfortunately. I'm just gonna tap this guy down so that the treasure chest with the pendant can spawn. I don't think I'm gonna make it in time. Nah, I'm good.
Nope. Yeah. So that what Joe is that that it was that most recent strat I was talking about.
And
So pretty
then
much this room is all on a cycle. So pretty much like as long as you don't miss the merry-go-round cycle, like you can do whatever you want.
yeah, so the timing is pretty specific. Like you need to be fast. If you go too slow, you'll miss a cycle and you lose like about 8 seconds, I think. Yeah. And if you do it right, this guy will point at you, so you can just run past him. You bait a grab from this guy and you get the treasure right here. And you should make it back just in time for the cycle.
Yep, exactly. That was perfect. Also, on those chains that he just shot down, if you shoot it too early, the hitboxes don't appear, so you have to wait a little bit before shooting the chains.
That's another thing I didn't know until I started running this game. Like I actually didn't know you can shoot the chains down. I thought you have to shoot the guy.
Oh yeah, casually, I didn't know about that. I would like try to run side to side to get the guy to be manipulated.
Yeah, that guy is really awkward to shoot if you're trying to shoot at him because like he's directly in front of you, and there's not too much room you can work with.
Yeah, so another thing about this game, this room here, pretty much we saw it earlier before when we were starting the castle, before Waterhall and the Gyarados. A lot of people want to try to skip this wall. No one's been successful. The theory is there, but there's no way to actually execute the theory.
Yeah.
So if people want to try to figure it out, be our guest. But I know JC has spent a lot of time trying to skip this, and he's pretty much said it was impossible. So I don't know. Surprise us, because if we skip this room, it's probably gonna save like 30 minutes or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, that has long been a dream skip.
Wait.
Fun fact here in this room. In this room, what you can do, only in this room, there's another room with spikes on the ceilings, but in this specific room, if you shoot the 4 lights, then you can see there the room completes already, because that's what you're supposed to do when you get trapped. But if you try that in a room later, it doesn't work at all. The lights still, I guess, they still need to be shot. Okay, originally, in the old strategy, there's a chessboard in this room, which Joe was mentioning. There's an animation to open the cabinet, and that loses like 3 seconds or something. 2 seconds probably. Okay, so we're coming up on these knights. For whatever reason, the parasite can infect suits of armor, which doesn't make sense to me. But sure, it's a Resident Evil 4 game, so we're gonna just accept that it can happen. You can get memed in this room. We'll see if it happens to Joe, but hopefully it doesn't. What pretty much happens is that you do enough damage to these knight suits of armor, and then the plagas come out, and then you have to kill the plagas. And ooh, that was a very good shot. That was really close.
I kind of just like do it like that nowadays because I find myself like really hard to hit the shot if he's like at that range. So I just wait for him to like swing so that I can get like my specific lineup so that I can shoot him. Okay, good.
Yeah, so there's no meme. There's sometimes that last night his helmet doesn't pop with the parasite.
I'm gonna reload cancel again and should be good. Well, whoops.
Okay, so there's another movement manipulation here with the Ashley's wait follow me. So what Joe's gonna do, he's gonna bait the enemies to go to one side with wait follow me, and he just loops around the other side.
Wait, follow me. Wait, follow me. Wait, follow me.
Yep, so those enemies went to the right side, and now he's on the left side. Okay, so you remember those Novicidors in the sewers, those bug things? So now they can fly, and the RNG just goes insanely crazy in this game when they fly. And yeah, I'll just stay quiet.
Let's hope I don't get hit. So I'm
Yeah,
not
we're
doing 11, I'm
hoping.
gonna flash instantly, so that would give me a brief window to shoot this thing, shoot the bridge down. And I'm probably gonna get grabbed, judging by the situation. I'm gonna flash instantly,
Ooh, yeah,
and I'm probably gonna die.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that
there's
can
nothing you
happen.
could've done there.
Yeah, they can just like combo you to death.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. A lot of this room is like a lot of rooms die here. I think like this room is where most runs die, like most good runs. So pretty much the idea is that you want to stagger those bugs. So if they're in the air, so if they're on the ground, the flash grenade actually stuns them for a long amount of time. But if they're in the air, they barely get stuck. So and like that's not fun at all. And then you want to.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so
still
you can
try and see if I can get out.
Yeah, I know he can make it out. So.
I'm gonna equip a rocket launcher so that I can quick turn. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh no, he.
Oh,
not
can
again.
I survive this?
No. If you're in the yellow, you're done.
Alright.
Yeah, so don't worry. Third time's a charm.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah. Like the thing is, like, we're not that mad about it because we know like this could happen in a marathon run. But when you're doing an actual speed run for a PB, like it's very infuriating. Oh, he almost got grabbed there. But the idea is that when you stun a Novistor with a flash grenade and they're on the ground, they lay on their back and they're stunned longer. But if you try to chain flash grenades, and they're like on their back on the ground,
We
they don't.
should
They
be fine.
actually
Please don't be
don't
around me.
get cheap stuff.
We're fine,
Yeah.
okay.
Ooh, we made it out. Nice.
Third time's a charm.
So the idea is that you want to chain lock the Novistadors on the ground. But if they're flying, it doesn't matter. Like you're probably gonna get hit by them if they're in the air. But we only have to go through Novistadors one more time. And that's gonna come up in like probably like 5 minutes or something.
That's also the worst Novistador room.
Yeah, I think like when you're starting off the game,
That's really close.
like it depends. Yeah, a lot of people hate that room. The third one, in my opinion, I hate the second one the most. But I think like I actually dread the first room. Like when I used to speedrun this game more, because it was like the scariest part where you get a really good water haul and then you're just like, well, this room sucks, and then you just get RNG like and die.
Yeah, that's this game in a nutshell.
So if you notice when he entered this room, what Joe did, he shot 2 of those wooden cranks and he shot a third one just right now. And then he pulled a lever to activate the clock tower. So he had to shoot those blocks because they stopped the clock tower from moving. And upon activating the clock tower, a bridge drops down where you can cross to where you last saw Ashley. Because those Novistors abducted Ashley. I forgot to mention that. Okay, unskippable cutscene.
We're just gonna use this downtime here to reload because we have to wait for the dynamite to explode anyway. Don't hit me.
Yep, he's fine. So this bridge right here, there's some RNG in it. Hopefully he doesn't get it, but he basically is gonna bait the shield guys into swinging, and then he's gonna run past them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, see, he got hit, but that's fine. That's actually the best situation that could happen. The best thing that happened there.
That honestly has never happened to me before.
Yeah, so the armored Gyarados has more HP. So what Joe did, he shot through the rocket launcher, and it blew up the door, so he doesn't have to kick it down later. And it instantly killed the Gyarados to the left, which is unarmored, and the one to the right needed a sniper rifle shot to the back Plaga.
So this is the most important merchant of the entire run because we can buy the striker.
Yeah.
You wanna explain the main glitch a little bit later?
So the striker is really cool. It's the best shotgun stat-wise, but that's not the important part. So what happened a long time ago, someone named Ditman found out if you equip the striker and then you aim with the striker, but before the laser pops out, you switch to another weapon, your animations is like twice as fast or 1.5 times as fast or something. And you can see here, Leon is running super fast. And this affects like a lot of animations as well. So like, you know, climbing up ladders, climbing down ladders, jumping up and down things. It's very important to the speedrun of the game. You can do certain movement manipulations, which Joe's gonna try real soon. And some things like deactivated, certain cutscenes, healing, getting hit, kicking open doors. But yeah, here, I'm gonna let Joe concentrate here. There's a pretty tight trick coming up. He's gonna try to skip this. Ooh, that was good. So let's see.
Oh, never mind.
Okay, yeah. So the second time, that one's harder. But pretty much what Joe did was, like he would, like you can do it without Ditman, but it's extremely hard. But pretty much what you do, you run super fast, and then you basically when that claw or that tail comes down or something, you basically like stop moving. Or yeah, there's multiple ways to do it, but basically the idea is that you stop moving and then you move, and that tail will like miss you.
Okay. I'm gonna
Okay.
reset. I think that's on me. I'm not sure.
I think maybe, yeah. I think yeah, sometimes usually what happens is the boss Verdugo, he just runs up to you and then that liquid nitrogen tank will freeze him. But I think Joe like did something weird. I'm not sure what it was. But he jumped up into the ceiling instead.
If you get the crouch from like the X and A crouch from instead of the L and R dodge from, you can actually just run past. He will never hit you with
Oh no,
Ditman.
he can hit you. He can hit you. It's not likely to happen, but
Not
he can hit
likely,
you.
yeah. I usually get hit if he was like at the doorway, and that's fine.
Yeah, Joe has a lot of heals, so we're good. But yeah, he drops a jewel, which is very important because the crown we picked up earlier in the sewer will combine with 2 other treasures, and then it's gonna sell for a lot of money. I think 48,000 pesetas. But Verdugo easily dies to a rocket launcher only if he's frozen, because I believe when he's frozen, he takes like 3 times more damage or something like that. Okay, we'll pick up the first aid spray. And we're in 4-2 now. Okay, and now we're starting to get a lot of money, so what we do, we just buy like a ton of rocket launchers. And this rocket launcher is not going to be used for a boss. You'll see what Joe does with it later. But we're going to come up on, we're going to see why the Ditman is so powerful coming up, and we're going to see the Novistadors one last time as well in this chapter. So originally, to get past this room, you have to get the dynamite and like move some carts and whatnot, and the dynamite's going to blow up the boulder, but instead we're going to use this rocket launcher to blow it up. And I think this doesn't work in one version of the game. I don't remember which one.
I think it's the PS2 version,
like,
if I'm not wrong. If
yeah,
I'm not
something like
mistaken,
that.
it's the PS2 version, one of the SD versions. So if you're playing on HD, like PS4, Xbox One, or Steam, then this works on every HD version of the game.
Yeah, so what Joe's doing with Ditman, he's gonna ride the zip line, and then that zip line comes back at a normal speed. But Joe's gonna run really fast and then jump on it again, and he's gonna start on that zip line in the middle, instead of from the beginning, and then he's gonna end up out of bounds here, and then he basically bypasses this, which is supposed to be like a boss fight where you fight 2 gigantes, but now you can see he's out of bounds and he gets to skip it. Fun fact on New Game Plus, if you have the infinite rocket launcher, it's faster to kill the bosses with the infinite rocket launcher. But yeah, so now we're on the 3rd Novistadors, the last like circle of hell, as they call it. And we're gonna try to use our flash grenade. We're trying to use 1 flash grenade. Hopefully we don't use the second one. Okay, he does that. Oh, yeah,
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it reduces the chances. Doesn't mean you can get past it because this game sucks. So, but yeah, so the idea is that that flash grenade was stunned, and he turned the camera to avoid them hitting him or giving him that kick prompt. So fun fact, Novistadors, when they're in the air, they die a lot faster. So like with the striker shot, they instantly get KO'd. But with the handgun bullet, it's probably a little bit...
Oh, that sucks. I think I'm gonna die.
Yeah, so you made it through.
I'm just gonna play very safe right there because I don't think I can make it out.
Yeah, so that's good. He turned the camera again to avoid it. But yeah, we're free. So we might have to pick up shotgun shells later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll worry about that later. There's no urgency to get shotgun shells right now. He might not even need them. But yeah,
I guess I'll
like
pick some up just for safety.
yeah, people say that the Resident Evil 4 run doesn't start until you get to this chapter 4-3 because now you're past all the Novice doors, and then there's like a significantly less RNG heavy sections now.
It's very much like a running joke. Like the run starts after you get Deadman.
Yeah. Like people are instantly relieved once it's past Novice 3, then it's like, okay, like, you know, this run's all up to you now. Like there's significantly less RNG that can screw you over. Okay, so now we're in the mines. So he just needs to grab some keys to just get past. There's nothing too special here in this room. Just watch out on the floor for the bear traps. That's all. So one of the biggest jump scares for me in this game is actually jumping into a bear trap, because I would never expect it, and then just seeing the animation and hearing it of Leon getting hurt by that would scare the crap out of me.
I should have picked him there. I don't know why I didn't, but okay. We're gonna combine a crown and use the key. And this is the second ceiling trap room.
Yeah, so like I said, before you could try it. The first one you could shoot the lights like early, but this one you can't. Okay,
That was
so
really
that's good. So
close.
those parasites, yeah, those parasites almost got him. Fun fact: those parasites can instant KO you if you don't shake free of them if they grab you. So this trick here with the power of Dipman, and you can basically clip through here. Basically, you switch to a two-handed weapon on Dipman. You hold up and left and jump down, and then you clip out. But this only works on Steam 60 specifically. This does not work on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, even though those are pretty much quote-unquote 60 FPS. But for whatever reason that we don't exactly know, this particular setup for this glitch only works on Steam PC 60.
If you're running on console like PS4, PS5, or Xbox, whatever, it can still be done, but it requires a different setup. It involves triggering the minecart right and jumping out at a specific time. And that's how you clip out of bounds if you are on console or if you're doing no merchant, I believe.
Yeah, so the setup Joe was talking about, you can do it with or without Dipman. So
So from a auto
scroller
scroller section, like auto scroller fight section, it just became like a, I don't know, 3-minute walking or running simulator.
Yeah, it saved at least like 1.5 minutes, I think, from what I remember, because of like I think it saved more, but when this skip was found, like the entire RE4 community just like instantly like, okay, I'm gonna try to run this game in PB again, because it changed a lot of the routing. Because not only do you skip that minecart ride, you don't have to pick up as much ammo either, which is a big deal when it comes to inventory management. And yeah. So now we are coming up on the last chapter of the castle.
Cool. I
We did
think
as
I
usual.
should be fine with 14 ammo, because you need to use TMP for a bit. And it can be scary if you have low ammo count, because you need to tap guys down.
Okay, yeah, that was very good. This room is actually very tight execution. So Joe did that beautifully. That was amazing. Pretty much this room is on a strict cycle because of the way the arms move. And if you get hit for whatever reason and you miss a cycle, then like the enemies get real weird. And then for some reason the statue comes to life as well. I don't know how Salazar bought it, but I'd like to see the person that sold it to him.
that QTE where you're climbing up is actually way harder than it looks if you're playing on 60 FPS. Because apparently, I think they didn't port the game over to 60 FPS properly, so in some QTE sections, they literally expect you to mash twice as fast. So there are some runners that physically cannot get past the QTE because they just cannot press that fast, and and that's why we allowed the use of macros for mashing QTEs.
Yeah, so here what Joe's gonna do with Ditman, this strategy was found also recently. There's a setup for this which I don't have time to really get into, but pretty much you're allowed when you reload your striker with Ditman, you typically lose it, but there's a way you can set up your keyboard and mouse that you maintain striker, you maintain Ditman with it. And this changed how the elevator works, but this only works on Steam PC because you have the keyboard and mouse thing.
Nah, but I just don't bother to get on this section because I can't get it. I can't get it consistently. It's really weird.
Yeah. So the idea is that this elevator. Yeah. So this elevator is weighted, or pretty much like if it's too heavy, then enemies will. If there's too many enemies on here, then it stops moving, and that you lose time.
Wait, there's one more guy. What? Oh, he's not dead. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we're basically going to try to adapt. But pretty much if more than one enemy jumps on there, the elevator stops. And then so how Joe had it set up was that he would try to shoot all the enemies off the elevator, so it would minimize the amount of the times the elevator had to stop. Okay, so backup shotgun ammo. And then we're gonna buy our last rocket launcher, or not last rocket launcher, but we're gonna buy a rocket launcher for Salazar, the last boss of the castle.
I'm gonna pick up the first aid spray as well, just for safety. This first aid spray is actually a lot trickier than it seems, because it's placed so tightly between the rifle ammo and a typewriter.
Yeah, so sometimes you might like grab the rifle ammo by accident, or you accidentally go into the typewriter save. Yep, and as you guessed it, Salazar dies easily to one rocket here. And then after that, we're gonna go to Island. Joe's gonna show another relatively new skip as well, which saves, I believe, 30 seconds at least. Very recently found too, like in the past, like less than 2 years, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, if anyone's interested in speedrunning Resident Evil 4, if you check out speedrun.com, there's a link to our Discord there as well. We're very welcoming. There's a lot of newer runners as well. Like I think recently the RE4 community just had an influx of newer runners, and then they're all very helpful to each other. And there's a lot of cool categories as well. Okay, so we're gonna see this island skip. That's what we call it. Very recently found. There's a setup for it. I'm gonna let Joe do it, and I'll explain.
I can't get the prompt right. Alright, there we go.
Yep. So what happened here was pretty much this whole time, people think about jumping out of places to flip out of bounds, but no one really thought about climbing up stuff. And then I don't remember who it was, but a Japanese runner figured it out, and it like also blew our minds because it's a huge time save, and you don't have to do this whole entire room with the lasers and the lights. But pretty much you can do it with or without Ditman. Pretty much you climb up at a specific spot, and then you end up flipping out of bounds upon climbing up.
Oh, that could be really bad.
Yeah. Okay, and then the island section, it's more execution than actual strategy. So a lot of these rooms, you'll see that it's just really fast. and you just run past enemies. And then you get to see the oven guy come out, so very famous. He's definitely scared me.
Pretty sure he scared a lot of people.
You know, fun fact: if he doesn't grab you, or it doesn't matter, he always dies no matter what. You don't have to actually shoot him to kill him. Then here we have the garage door skip, which can only be done with Ditman. So the idea is that when the guys throw the dynamite, you run towards them right when their hands go up, and then you run into the garage door, and then you get through it before it closes. Because if you go too early, then the garage door closes. If you go too late, then the garage door still closes. So you just have to go at the right time. And then here we see what most people say is the scariest enemy in the whole game, the Regenerators. Basically, they are enemies that have a lot of plagas in them that they can regenerate their body parts. And it takes a lot of ammo to kill them, but since this is a speed run, we don't want to kill them. We actually only kill one in this whole game because it drops a key treasure. Yeah, they're pretty much like just naked gray enemies that have really sharp teeth and are absurdly strong, but we're just gonna run past them because we can. And that was a manipulation Joe did. So basically he shot with a TMP early to manipulate the regenerator into moving earlier, and then he just runs past it.
Oops,
A little door block right there.
hello. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of categories in this game. Like I was saying, New Game Pro is the most explored category, but New Game Plus was a little bit... It was famous in the past because it was the fastest way to clear the game back on GameCube or PlayStation 2 days. New Game Plus normal.
Yeah,
And that
because back then people like wasn't really sure like how to route like optimally, so I think the earliest speedruns was just like people loading up their New Game Plus normal save file, because that's what I give up. As I was saying, people just load up their New Game Plus normal save file and pretty much just kill everything in their way with the Chicago typewriter.
Yep, so we're coming up on the Iron Maiden, which is basically a regenerator that's full of spikes. And this is the only regenerator that we kill, and we use a rocket launcher for it. It's going to give us a key. So he's going to try to push the body up a little bit more, because when the torso falls down, that's when it drops the key item. So if we push it up a little bit, that animation will it'll happen closer to the door, and it'll be faster. Well, not faster in execution, but it'll be faster for us to leave the room.
Oh, whoops.
And then now we get Ashley back.
And we are gonna reset the checkpoint to manipulate the enemies a bit.
Yeah, if you don't reset the checkpoints, there might be an extra enemy, which actually is a little inconvenient. But if you reset the checkpoint, that enemy disappears.
My shotgun shell's a bit scuffed. That's fine.
Yeah, because I think you have too much TMP.
Yep, Ashley,
And it's
that's
if Ashley
fine.
gets grabbed there.
Because there's a cutscene trigger here. And she's back.
Yep.
What is that thing?
Wait.
Oops. Yep. So I did a little wait follow there to manipulate Ashley a bit so that she can directly go onto the box instead of like having to do a weird
Wait.
like movement. Because Ashley actually follows you around. If you don't ask her to wait for a bit, she will like go behind you and then like do a weird turn, and then she pushes the box.
Here's the Infamous Wrecking Ball room. There's two strats for this room. It really depends on what platform or in what category you're on. So I believe we're going to do the home run strat here.
Yep.
So the idea is that you have to trigger this wrecking ball 3 times. And fun fact, this cutscene we let play out because it basically recharges the wrecking ball. If you skip it, then the wrecking ball still has to play out anyways. So you might as well let it play out and don't
Yeah,
have
the
to run around
the
enemies.
wrecking ball happens in real time.
Yeah, exactly.
The big hammer guys can be really scary. They pretty much kill you in one hit, even if you are at full HP. So if they feel like
Yeah.
it, they can just run up to you and just hit you when they... Oh, I didn't get it. Just hit you when you are coming up from the switch room.
Yeah, it's actually possible for that wrecking ball to push Leon through the door, which is Joe was trying to do. I don't know if there's a setup for it. I've tried it. I think I've only gotten it when I didn't mean to do it.
Wait.
And then actually he's being a good door stopper again.
Follow me.
So we do the starter step thing because if you try to, so it's funny when you try to run with Ashley, it's easier for you to get caught by enemies and hide behind them. But if you use starter steps, so like if you switch between walk and run really fast, Ashley follows you a lot better. So if you try to run past that regenerator with
Do I need
Ditman,
more
Ashley
shells?
was most likely.
I'm just gonna take more just in case.
Yeah. So if Ashley, pretty much if Joe tried to run past the regenerator with Ditman, Ashley would have most likely been caught by the regenerator. So he did the stutter step. So Ashley just stayed with Leon the whole time. And here's another auto scroller. For whatever reason, when Ashley went to school, in like presidential, like high school or something, they taught her how to use a bulldozer. I don't know how, but yeah. A lot of people wonder how this happened.
I'm pretty sure it's not easy to even drive a truck, like a normal truck. And here she is, she's driving a bulldozer.
Yeah, I don't know how she knows how to like lift the arm or anything. But what lesson learned is don't underestimate children of presidents. They know how to do amazing things.
So what I'm doing, I'm just basically running against the edge so that I can trick the enemy AI into like thinking that I'm there, so that they can hit me and not jump off the truck. We are also like preserving the enemies in this room by not killing them because there's only so much enemy that can spawn in this room. And even though you see that they run back, they're actually still there. They're not actually gone. So that you can manipulate the enemy spawn a bit by not killing them. Like here, usually there's like a ton of guys that come out of that door, but because we didn't kill the guys at the back, there's only like sometimes there's like 2 to 3 guys, but it's fine.
Yeah, the scary part of the I just realized, did that truck drive through the pillar?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know why I never noticed that. Like that horizontal pillar drove through one. But yeah, like the scariest part of this section actually comes up at the end because that's when those plagas, the parasites, actually spawn, and those can one-hit KO Ashley. So if one gets on the bulldozer and then swings, and then it can hit Ashley even when it doesn't mean to, and it's a reset run at that point. So basically hitting that switch so the bulldozer can go up, and then we're going to go back. Yep, we just want to get rid of these enemies.
I kind of want the money. I don't think I have time though, never mind.
Yeah, that's fine. I think you're fine on money. There's always backup money. So the cool thing about Resident Evil 4, even if you have to pick up money even with the treasure routing we do in this game. You have to account for some RNG. The cool part is that even if you don't get what you need, there's usually some backup money that you can get. The fun fact, enemies that stand on top of they usually die in one hit. I don't know if you shoot a weak weapon at them, I don't know what happens. So I don't know if it's like they just take a lot of damage, or they have less HP, or they actually do have 1 HP.
I'm missing all my shots.
So Joe has to be really careful here because one, there's an enemy close to Ashley, so he can shoot her. And two, if it spawns a Plaga, that's also scary. And three, if the enemy is like right by Ashley, you might accidentally shoot Ashley.
This is bad. This is really bad. I hope I'm gonna be fine. I don't know.
Yep. So that was very good.
So
that could have gone a lot worse.
This game has a lot of iframes, but that small cutscene where you watch the truck get destroyed, that is not one of them. You can still get hit when you're waiting for the bulldozer to crash into the wall, which is really scary.
Yeah, you can actually die from there, and it's a game over if you die in that particular cutscene.
And that's the example of us not having enough money.
Yeah, I think you were barely off, right?
Yeah, I'm like 100 short or like a few hundred short, I don't know.
Yeah, I lied to you. I said you had enough money earlier, that's my bad. It was just my feeling.
It's fine, yeah. It's kind of hard to like get the feeling if whether you have enough money or not. It's fine.
Yeah, because like you don't really see how much money you have unless you open your inventory, and that loses time. And usually you're not opening your inventory for that long to look into the upper right hand corner.
That's fine though. I'm just trying to get some backups along the way.
Yeah, see, like that gold right there, like that's a prime example of backup money. But I think Joe picked up enough at this point. And then here we have the infamous Krauser fight. So I'll leave it to you, Joe.
All right.
Every runner knows knows this entire sequence.
It's been a long time, comrade. Krauser.
I died in a crash 2 years ago. Is that what they told you?
You're the one who kidnapped Ashley.
You got John quick, as expected.
After all, you and I both know where we come from.
What do you want? The sample Sadler developed, that's all.
Leave Ashley out of this.
Oh, I needed her to buy Sadler's trust in me.
Like you, I'm American.
That line has been quoted so much. It's, I'm American.
You got her involved just for that?
I like all the cheesy stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because the voice actors are actually really good. It's just the script is like really bad. Like some of the lines are stupid, but then the voice actor for Leon does an amazing job.
It's just like cringe, I guess. I don't know, but
So
it's like usually the old games, like let's say the OG Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, the voice acting is not the best.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know. I mean, voice acting got better with time.
Yeah.
Well, if it isn't the bitch in the red dress.
Looks like we have the upper hand here.
Yeah, I don't know how Leon jumps up that high, but
You
he
may
does.
be able to prolong your life.
Hint,
but it's
hint,
not like
there
you
might be
have
something
your
up with
inevitable
Krauser.
death, is it?
You knew each other?
Yeah, this if anyone can figure out how to skip this cutscene, it's also a big deal because I think this is like two.
This is like
something,
the
I don't know.
second dream skip, I think.
Yeah, so the two big skips people want are probably Chimera Wall by far, and this one. But yeah. So these lasers kill you in one hit. So you just the strats are different on each platform. I think at least they're on 30 versus 60 FPS. The strats you can do for this laser room. For example, what Joe did in the beginning, he ran straight through the lasers. Like if you do that on 30 FPS, you die. So yeah.
I think you
And
die in
also,
one hit, regardless of difficulty in the laser room.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I probably... never mind.
Oh, I know what you wanted to do. You want to sit on
Yeah.
the throne. Yeah, Leon has a really cool animation when he sits on the throne. It's pretty cool. Okay, so now we're up on another boss. Basically, like the island, like you get to like somewhat of a boss rush because you encounter a bunch of, at least in speedrunning, you encounter a bunch of bosses like
Like
within a few
almost like
short
back to
time.
back.
Yeah, and this boss is called U3, or as Sadler calls it, It. And pretty much the first part of this boss fight, you're trying to just like manipulate through all these like, I don't know, crates, not barrel, but you know, like something weird. And then, yeah, so basically you try to activate switches to open the red door, and when you activate both switches, you have 30 seconds to get out of there or you die. But yeah, you can't kill the boss in this section until later, when you actually fight. Okay, so there's some movement manipulation there, so he doesn't get hit. And then, fun fact here, there's a switch behind this wall, but what Joe's gonna do is that he's gonna throw the grenade and it clips through the wall because physics, and that's allowed. And the grenade explodes on the other side. There's an alternative strat for this, where you throw the grenade by the corner and it'll pop the door, but Joe managed to get it through the door, which is good. So this boss doesn't die from rocket launcher. He's very durable, but he dies from an additional knife swing, so he's stronger than all the other bosses. Well, technically Verdugo has the most HP.
Yeah, but when you freeze Vertigo, you do like a lot more damage. I'm not sure how much, but you do a lot more damage when Vertigo is frozen.
Yeah, I heard 3 times as much. All I care about is that he dies to a rocket when frozen, and that's an important thing for me as a speedrunner.
Yeah.
And we can see Ditman here being used. You can climb up ladders faster.
Oops.
Oh, he turned too much there. So right after we fight U3, we're going to be fighting Krauser for real. And there's going to be 3 phases to Krauser.
I guess
we're
we
gonna change
really,
it for
I
the
guess,
last time.
I guess we didn't really explain like how the movement and the camera works in this game.
So basically it's a tank control system, so you can move on one joystick and then you can change the camera on another joystick. So it's different from other games, and it feels really clunky at first. A lot of people like to play on gamepad, but recently more people are playing keyboard mouse. Technically, in theory, keyboard mouse is faster, but it is harder to control certain things, which is why, you know, even the top gamepad runners, they switch to keyboard mouse sometimes. And there's also camera manipulations as well, and you turn the camera faster on keyboard mouse. Okay, so Joe had to shoot Krauser twice there, and it basically triggers Krauser to jump on this other side.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I don't know what. That was very interesting.
I'm gonna get a magnum ammo for backup.
Yeah, that's a good backup for sure. So ideally, Joe would have shot Krauser 3 times at that second part, and then Krauser would just throw the flash grenade, and then you move on to the next phase.
Oh, he's behind me. How nice.
Yeah, so here, Joe's gonna go for a very accurate shot. He's gonna shoot Krauser in the head, wait a bit, and then shoot him in the body. And that'll trigger the next part.
I aimed too early. I'm just gonna reset there.
Yeah. So if Krauser jumps up there, basically he throws a bunch of grenades down, and then you have to wait for him to jump down, and that's a waste of time. So Joe's just gonna reset. It's gonna make this section go by a lot faster.
I hope I can hit the shot. I only have 2 shots. Should be fine. Got it.
Yeah, perfect. And then you can reload cancel off that flash grenade, very similar to what we did at the beginning of the game. Or not the beginning of the game, but like I know we reloaded
I didn't get it.
So
I didn't.
yeah, you
I
didn't get
didn't.
it. So what could happen there is you basically push the statue to a certain distance, and then you can instantly push the statue again to get it onto the trigger point. But then Joe pushed the statue a little bit too far, so he had to push the statue back to move to the next part. It's not the easiest to do.
It's
will
quite
admit. Sometimes I miss
precise. Because if you don't push it far enough, you can't push it to the platform. If you push it too far, you get blocked in the pillar.
Yeah, regardless, you lose at least like 5 seconds. It's like it's a decent amount of time lost. And then we actually are showcasing the knife here. So fun fact, Krauser takes like magnum damage amount when you knife him in the head. Or when you knife him, Krauser just takes a lot of damage. So Joe's gonna show the power of the knife here. Alright, that was good. Yep, and there Krauser just goes down. When I found out casually that Krauser took a ton of damage to the knife, I was very surprised. Because one, I didn't know how to get to knife him because he would just keep swinging at me. So now we're on 5-4, the second to last chapter, the military base, which is arguably like one of the hardest rooms in the game. Just because, especially for casual play, it's a long room. For speedrunners, it's pretty fast, but there's a lot. There's precise.
I'm gonna use a herb. Just that I don't die in one hit. At this point of the game, in professional at least, pretty much everything kills you in one hit if you don't upgrade your health, because the game will kind of expect you to already have your health upgraded. If you're not full health, you die in one hit.
Yeah, like you're guaranteed to die in 2 hits in this section. Whereas like earlier, like on the castle and village, like you might survive 3 hits, but here pretty much you get hit by like anything twice. Like, you're pretty much done. Just zooming through.
Oh, that shield guy got me. That's fine. I failed my dead man and JJ hit me again. Okay. I failed my dead man again.
Fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, things get really hectic in this section of the game, just because like there's so much going on and like you have to dip in and whatnot, and like yeah, like it's crazy.
Oh, I died. That's fine. That's a checkpoint.
He died at the right spot.
Yeah.
Because when he hits that switch, the checkpoint loads, and then so luckily he died right there. Otherwise, we'd have to do like that entire section again, which is like unfortunate. This is another execution heavy. So what Joe's gonna do, he's gonna do Ditman. He's gonna try to get through the section as fast as possible. Because this section, the faster you go, the better the enemies behave.
I ran into the wall. That's bad. I just kind of reset on instinct there, because in this room, if you go too slow, it can be really hectic. Like everyone shooting at you, everyone just wants you dead.
Like you keep getting like chain hit by you know weapons and guns.
I'm gonna get hit again. I'm gonna try to do it. I'm probably gonna end up resetting again.
Yeah, we're just gonna try here.
Just YOLO at this point.
Oh, that doesn't seem so bad. Okay, this seems really good so far. So we'll see at the end. I think I'm like 90% sure like this is gonna be fine.
I hope I don't get mean by the ladder guys. Because there can be guys that climb up the ladder and they can just like hit you or grab you when you climb up because you can't really see there.
Yeah, so like if you go like too slow or something, like sometimes people are at the bottom of the ladder and like that's really dangerous. Because ideally like they're not close to the ladder or some are in the process of climbing up the ladder, so you won't encounter them.
And that door right there that I went through just now is a really scary door. Your game can crash at that door for whatever reason. I don't think anyone knows why precisely, But so far, I believe like no one has really found a fix for it yet.
Yeah, that door is basically like when runners get at that point, they just pray. They're like, please don't crash here. It more likely crashes on Steam PC if you play on high graphical settings. So we recommend all speedrunners like lower all your graphics setting besides resolution, but like turn off anti-aliasing, turn off everything else. But it's been known to crash on console too, which is very interesting. So this is the second. This is the last hardest room of the game. So just gonna need to do some very specific movement manipulations here, so the enemies behave very well when he passes through this last section.
Ow.
Oh, we got hit.
Yeah, the archers tend to like just not cooperate. And the door's closed.
Yeah.
Should be fine though. Oh,
Oh, good dodge. Oh my god, that was actually a crazy
What?
dodge. Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was really good. Good reflexes. I would have been hit by that.
and they're down there. I can see them from here. So I'm gonna pick up this flash.
Yeah, and then he's gonna toss it down there.
And the archer hit me again. That's fine. I'm just gonna heal and be on my way. Don't hit me. Don't hit me.
Nice.
Alright.
Okay, good. Okay. That was very good. So now the rest of the game is pretty easy. Then we get Ashley back.
I keep filling my Ditman. That's fine.
Wait,
All
follow.
you gotta do is wait follow to aggro these guys, dodge his attack, and be on our way.
Yeah, so you have to let that last cutscene play out, so Ashley can spawn beside you. If you skip it too fast, then Ashley ends up where she was, and since you ran past the enemies, she's gonna run towards the enemies and hide or crouch. So now we're at the final boss. He takes a very specific amount of hits here. So the strat we do in New Game Pro, you have to shoot him twice with the Killer 7 on the eyes, and then you rocket his main eye. And that triggers Ada to drop the special rocket launcher, which instantly kills Sever.
Please don't
Fun
fall.
fact.
Alright.
Fun fact: the special rocket launcher sells for 30,000, whereas you buy a normal rocket launcher for 30,000, you sell it for 15. But yeah, so that's it. Joe is pretty much done with this run. We're gonna go on the last part, which I have to admit, I died on the jet ski part when I casually played the game. I died like 6 times because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, because the reaction time that you need is actually pretty fast, because like the rocks fall down like quite close to you. So that if you've never played this game before, like you're playing casually, it might be a bit hard.
Oh, you're gonna do the Ditman thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Ashley, come on,
Ditman
Ashley,
speeds
we
up
gotta
all
go.
animation.
Bye.
Yeet. But yeah, pretty much Ditman speeds up all animations, even this one. Very funny. Alright. And we're gonna be almost approaching time now.
Yeah. It's gonna be like 20 more seconds probably. Just gotta dodge these rocks and careful not to crash into them. Oh yeah, if you miss a ramp you die, if you hit a rock you die. Pretty much any mistake you die.
Alright,
And
that's
time.
Alright, good job, Joe. That was a very good run. And
Not too
we saved Ashley, and the whole island blew up, so...
I'm just gonna let this
But yeah,
cutscene play.
Yeah. But yeah, follow my buddy JoeKoh27 on his Twitch. So he speedruns Resident Evil 4. He's a good runner. We have a speedrunning Discord, and there's a lot of resources and a lot of people that are willing to help. Our community is very friendly. This game is easy to get into as well, but it's also hard to get really good at this game. So it's really good because like the floor, it's easy to access, but like the levels in this game are amazing.
Bro, regardless if you are planning to like speedrun the game or not, if you never play this game casually or you never finish it, you should, because it's a really good game. This game actually came a really long way since its debut and
Why do you
since the people started speedrunning it.
She's like a
It's
party
actually
that
insane.
come
It's
and
been
go.
16 years
Let's
since
leave it
the first debut on GameCube.
But yeah, thank you, thank you, TeamIQgg, for letting us showcase this game and giving us the opportunity to, show it off to everyone. And thanks to Joe for running this game. He had a great run.
Yeah, thanks to TeamIQgg for
And again, is
having
that you?
me.
Finally, mine's
Um,
jack free.
I'm really honored to
Hey,
do this
hunchback,
run.
no glasses.
Forget the glasses. What's the status of the mission?
Oh,
Alright.
I
Is
skipped it
that
by
it? Any
accident.
shoutouts?